I see this came up the other day on Facebook, and I thought I might try and knock it out to just to see if I could wrap my head around it. It's a bit tricky. It's got one square corner, but none of the walls, none of the matching walls or opposite walls are parallel. Um, so it's makes it interesting. Although um, all of the rafters are square to the plate, so that's a good start. That means that all the surfaces are, I think it was at 18 degrees, wasn't it? All of the surfaces are at 18 degrees, and all of the hips bisect the corner. That valley bisects the corner. So that's a great start because that's just standard roofing. These are called ridges here. I think R for ridge. Although there's a bit of a problem with that terminology. Although you look at it and you think, oh, that's a ridge, or I did anyway. But then when I start to think about it, if the walls are not parallel, then that's the walls relating to the ridge, which the ridge sort of bisects. Then that ridge would come down and it would actually meet the corner way down here, half a kilometre away, if you like. Same with that one, way out there. There'd be a point, and so that then becomes a hip, and all of these become creepers. I don't think there's a rafter here without an edge bevel. I think they're all creepers, either valley or standard creepers. Anyway, I'll just show you what I mean by that. If I modelled it in 3D, so I'll just go to camera perspective, and if I hide that and the main roof, you can see that that's just a hip roof, long hip roof with three sides. But they're all 18 degrees. Rafters would be square. Every rafter would have an edge bevel and get shorter from up here, if you want to call them centering and rafters and crown ends. So and if you look when I turn the other roof on, you can see that just fits perfectly there for that ridge, and it'll be the same with this one. I won't take too long here, but you can sort of see that that's another hip going down to a corner there, unhide, and that becomes that hip there. The fact is, though, that they just break off into a hip and then going into two hips, which is fairly standard fare if you've got a hip coming down onto a hexagonal roof or something, a little gazebo thing. So I thought I'd then model it up, and I'll just show you where I started with this. So there's the plan of the thing. You see what I mean? That'd just be a hip coming down onto two hips, and makes it interesting. So when the first thing I did was I drew the plan. That was easy. That's just bisecting the corners, and where they meet, and that point there is just that plate continued through. That's your gathering point there. The position of these, that I called it a crown end as a centering rafter. Once I found that point in there, you might say, well, it's a half span, but it's a half span of what? How do you get it? But it wouldn't be too difficult then to get the distance from the corner of the plate to that one to set out, and then you could go spacing back towards the corners and stuff. So I thought it wouldn't be too hard to set out. Find this one here as well, and that one. Your critical ones, I just drew in the critical ones there, but I then treated it as a standard hip, which is it's not the best way to build the thing, because all of these lengths then become really critical, and if the plates are just a little bit out, it's going to give us grief. So I thought, oh, maybe if you could just make that a bit longer and cut it off at the angle, just cut it off here somewhere, but it wouldn't be in line because this line here and that line there, they're not a straight line, so it's very difficult to pick up a line across there to give us somewhere to bring the crown into for pitching. So I've just left it at the junction. The reason I've left it there is because it does what I like to do in all my roofing, is make sure that the edges line up so that we know exactly where we're going when we pitch the thing. There's no need for these centering rafters to be on the centre line. They could move over and it just have one edge bevel then. Of course, this is SketchUp, so you get all your bevels and your lengths and everything off this once you've knocked it out. It doesn't take that long to knock it out. So that should be, if I put it in the right spot, that should be 72 degrees. So yeah, and if I just spin this around, you can see that everything's in plane here. It's all at 18 degrees, so that's missing an end there. So totally buildable, easy to put on a pattern rafter. What else do we need to know? It made me think a bit about just staying with the basic principles of roofing, and then everything seemed to fall into place. So I'd like to get out the handsaw and the sliding bevel and give it a crack. Hopefully that's useful to whoever gets to build it. Good on you.